there's a problem.
Drains pop, literally they come up, they shoot out, and this area here completely floods, and it floods the pub.
So I live in Old Town, and we quite often have flooding there. It's only flash flooding, but the local pub quite often gets knee-deep in water.
Neil Raymond at the Star, Old Town, Eastbourne. We're in the bottom of a dip, massive drainage problem. This area will flood literally in 2 or 3 minutes. Where it floods up into the bar, there's a tide mark.
I've been in there before, sitting on the bar when it's deep in water, and yeah.
What we've got on the pub is flood doors, to keep the water out, but it's a massive problem here. It's quite shocking, really.
So I'm Anna Hastings. I'm the project manager for the Blue Heart project.
Have you got much information yet about town centre flooding? I mean, because we used to have a shop with a cellar just opposite the station, and the cellars would regularly get soggy. Does fill up if it's really bad.
So the Blue Heart project is really seeking learning and better awareness of flood risk within the area.
I think it is collecting all that different bits of information, and it is a great project because it's linking everyone up.
Both in terms of how flooding may occur, but also what their level of risk may be.
So part of this is to try and pull all the information together.
With climate change, that is expected to worsen, so sea level rise, which leads to tidal locking of the outfall, so water essentially has nowhere to go because the sea level is blocking the outfall.
When we have a big downpour, obviously, and if the tide's out, it's fine. If the tide's in, then the water can't escape, and so therefore it just backs up.
Because it looks like we're going to be underwater, apparently, in the future, but I don't know, sort of, in the short term, if people are worried.
Because the area is so low-lying, we're basically at sea level here.
But we do have the constant threat of seawater overtopping the shingle bank.
It's always ever present in the back of your mind.
So as well as the Blue Heart project, there is also another project ongoing which is run by the Environment Agency in Eastbourne Borough Council. So that project is looking at better protecting the coast, outlining what the plan is for the next 100 years for protecting that coastline. The difference between that project and our project is that the Blue Heart project is looking at the freshwater system, so the water bodies, the watercourses.
And there's water coming from the path, water coming from the road behind, coming down the hill.
The flooding risk is very much a talking point in the local area.
Dave Roberts, Gather Community Garden. The thing that we've got here is that it gets really, really wet. The reason we got the flooring down is that we used to eat in here, but it just got too soggy. And we get this issue with settled water.
It comes up and then it goes down again. So it's very unstable in terms of land to work. When it rains, you're not going to be able to do anything with it.
With forecourts and driveways, paving doesn't allow water to drain into the substrata, just runs off. So that's a problem. So there's an awful lot of that goes on.
My name's Peter Birchall. I'm known as Pete the Pond. I do lots of wildlife surveys. Lots of new house building, they put in these retention ponds and flood risk ponds, which are built for a good reason, one to hold back flood waters and sometimes for wildlife issues. But I see as a concern and a problem that a lot of these are unmanaged. So once they're built and the housing companies have built them and leave them, these quickly infill with vegetation and can fill up with silt as well. So the actual outflows that they're meant to be working for flood risk don't work. They aren't very good ponds for wildlife because, one, they're not actually built as ponds, they're built as bigger soakaways, and so they don't hold a nice quantity of water that often. And so, generally speaking, again, they fill in with overgrowth of monoculture vegetation. That basically you lose wildlife and lose wildlife species. From the tiniest insect and bacterium up to the largest animal, without them we don't survive, and I see that as a dreadful loss, and it's sadly happening,